Welcome back to DiSanto Field as we prepare now for the second game in our doubleheader here as the men's teams now take their turn as the NYU Violets take on the Case Western Reserve Spartans in the conference opener for both teams here in 2024. We'll see if these teams can follow up what was a heck of a game between the women's squads, as in the first half of game one, neither team was able to find the scoreboard, but then it was an early goal from Kelly Keaty for NYU that got the got the Violets on the board. And then later in the second half, it was an effort by Molly Shama that knotted the game at 1, and it stayed that way until the final moments of the second half. And it looked like it might not stay that way any longer when a beautiful touch from Abby Welker gave Alex Sassauer a shot on goal, but it was NYU's Riley Felsher who made a great save to keep Case Western Reserve off the board and keep it a 1-1 game. And both teams now are 0-0-1 in conference play. And both teams probably feel good, at least making sure they earn that draw here this afternoon. Now on the men's side, we have two teams with, once again, very similar records, as NYU enters the day with 5 wins, 1 loss, and 2 draws, while Case Western Reserve has 5 wins, 2 losses, and 2 draws. And so a very competitive matchup is expected here. Game 1 had an attendance of 345 fans here at DiSanto Field, and we expect many of those folks have stuck around and will also take part as part of the crowd here for this highly anticipated matchup between two teams. Now, Case Western Reserve is coached by Carter Poe. He's in his 5th season here, and Poe's done a great job at Case Western Reserve, as for the first time in program history, Poe has led the Spartans to the NCAA tournament in back-to-back seasons. In 2023, the squad went to the second round of the NCAA tournament, and they've also had winning seasons in UAA play in back-to-back seasons. Now, for NYU, they are coached in the 10th season by Kim Wyant. And when Kim started at NYU, she was the only woman head coach in NCAA men's soccer at any level. Now she joins Julianne Sitch, who is in conference at U Chicago, who were the 2023 Division III national champions at this level. And Kim also has a long coaching career, including at Division I Florida Atlantic University from 1994 to 1997. Now today, there'll be a couple key players to keep an eye on in this matchup. First, for NYU, it's the senior Bryce Lexo, number 11. He's played in all 8 games for the Violets, and he has 20 points by scoring 8 goals, and he has 4 assists. He had a hat trick on September 29th against Baruch, and he has 23 career goals. And this being his 60th game of his career, he, a senior, is looking forward to a strong senior season, but also is someone who is hoping to attend medical school and become a surgeon. So Bryce Lexo, not only a star on the field, but certainly also in the classroom there. Now on the Case Western Reserve side, the Spartans, as I mentioned, who are 5-2-2, have not scored tons of goals this year, but 5 of them have come off the foot of Kyson Kroger. He is a senior from Keller, Texas, and Kroger had 2 goals in Case Western Reserve's game at Worcester, and he already has 3 game-winning goals in 2024, including a penalty kick versus Stockton. So now that we have had a chance to talk about some of the key players, let's break down all of the starters for today's game. First, again, for the visiting Violets, and again, they are in the vibrant violet kits that they are wearing here today, purple jerseys with white lettering and numbers. In goal is sophomore Jackson McCloskey. He wears the number 0 and is from Douglasville, PA. He started all 8 games this year and has a save percentage of 74%, and a career record of 6-2-2. His best game this year, he had 10 saves and a 1-0 win over Rutgers Camden on September the 7th. Also starting for NYU in front of McCloskey on the defense is Johannes Wolfram. He will wear the number 2. We have Felipe Ramon, the defender number 5, and the defender number 20, Josh Cohen. In the midfield, we have number 6, Daniel Gutierrez, number 9, Tara Nagai, and number 10, Ben Trask. And up front, we have the aforementioned Lexau. We have number 28, Colton Jensen, and number 30, Ahmed Ibrahim. And that is the starting lineup for the NYU Violets, who will be coming in here looking to have another successful season. They had a winning conference slate last year, finishing at 3-2-2. Now on the other side, for the host Case Western Reserve Spartans, in goal is going to be the junior Bradley Winter. He sports the number 1 and is a junior from Marietta, Georgia. In his 6 starts this year, he has a save percentage of 77% and was an All-UAA honorable mention in 2023. Now for Case Western Reserve, also starting will be the aforementioned Kyson Kroger. He is the senior from Keller, Texas. It will be Philip Washington on the defensive line. He's number 2 and a junior from Ellicott City, Maryland. Number 4, Cormac Apostolides. Number 4, a sophomore from Chicago, Illinois. Cameron Thayer, number 13, a sophomore from Lancaster, PA, will also be on the defensive line. And number 23, Josh Cook, a senior from Johnstown, Ohio. In the midfield, we have Adam Pluschek, number 9, a sophomore from White Lake, Michigan. Kellen Landefield, number 10, a graduate student. Charlie Wittenberg, number 17 in the midfield from LA, California. And now we are going to pause for the national anthem here in just a moment as they finish the starting lineup for Case Western Reserve. To finish up real quick, Camden Larson, number 6 from Mount Airy, Maryland, also plays the midfield, is a junior. And we also have Lucas Delakis, number 7, a senior midfielder from Vienna, Virginia. So as the PA announcer finishes introducing the Case Western Reserve Spartans, we prepare ourselves for the national anthem here on a beautiful, a truly picturesque, beautiful day here. Not a cloud in the sky from where I can see. And a beautiful fall day that makes you feel like football and soccer are playing in your local high schools and colleges alike. In fact, the Case Western Reserve football team is on the road today, and they are currently winning 14-0 in the first quarter. And we now are going to pause for the national anthem. All right, so the anthem has been played. The teams exchanged some pleasantries at the Case Western Reserve Spartan logo in the center circle. And we are just about to get underway here in the first half. But before we do so, have you downloaded the new CWRU Spartans app yet? Featuring real-time news alerts, schedules, exclusive multimedia content, game day details, and more, the new CWRU Spartans app is both free and compatible with iOS and Android devices. Visit your phone's app store and search CWRU to download today. And if you had the new CWRU Spartans app, you may have noticed that Case Western Reserve's football team now leads 21-0 over Allegheny. So it's been a great start for the Case Western Reserve football team, as they are now 3-0 and lead 21-0 early on this weekend. And now will be the men's soccer team who will look to take the lead of the football team to begin their conference slate with a win of their own. Last year, the Spartans were victorious 3-0 over NYU, winning that game in Newark, New Jersey, on the campus of NJIT, where the NYU soccer team plays. So we are just waiting for the official's whistle. There it is, and we are underway from DiSanto Field, and UAA conference play has begun for both the Case Western Reserve Spartans and the NYU Violets. So we'll see here who comes out fast. In the women's game earlier today, it was the Violets who came out and dominated possession early and had multiple chances to net that early lead. And we'll see here today who takes advantage of the opportunity to get ahead on the scoreboard in the early part of the game. So booting it away there is McCloskey as he pushes it towards midfield, where it's controlled by his teammates in purple. The Spartans now have a chance as they're looking in front of the net with a big left foot. And it was a shot on goal there by Kyson Kroger, but it went just wide of the net. And so Case Western Reserve, in the first minute of this one, puts a shot not on net, but at the goal, and is just wide. So it will be McCloskey who's standing in his goal box and boots it. A good kick, about 60 yards down the field, where it's controlled by Case Western Reserve, and now into the end of junior Bradley Winter. As I mentioned earlier, Winter last year was an all-UAA honorable mention. This year has 3 shutouts in his 6 games. As NYU applies a little ball pressure here. Right in front of me is Apostolides, who pushes it forward and ultimately is controlled by McCloskey. McCloskey coming into today with 28 saves and the 10 goals allowed. So NYU, who did have some challenging opponents on their schedule, but also some opponents of lesser consistent caliber, they do come in with many more goals scored than Case Western Reserve, including a 10-goal showing earlier this year. But today we expect this one to be tight and certainly much lower scoring than anything nearing 10 goals. So the ball is maintained here in the middle of the field by the Violets. First touch here of the game for Bryce Lexo, as the Violets look to steal away possession again. And a nice job there from Pluschik, but they do say that it's going to be the Violets' ball, much to the dismay of the home fans here. So we got a throw in, and it's played nicely by the Spartans, and it now goes out of bounds, and it will be the Spartans' ball as Apostolides throws it in, and it's now controlled back to the center line where Josh Cook stands on the defensive end. It's Josh Cook and Cameron Thayer. Right now, the two defenders on the back line with Philip Washington, that junior from Ellicott City, Maryland, on the far side. We now have a nice boot here from DiSanto Field as he's looking to get the Spartans into the zone. A nice touch there, but ultimately is going to be taken away as Pluschik could not control it. And it will go through to NYU, who's looking to get the offense started, but it's Washington there who is able to keep possession for Case Western Reserve. They now are able to find Delikis, but it's ultimately controlled by the Violets, and they're now going to push forward towards Bradley Winter. So it's NYU here controlling early. We're just about 5 minutes into this one, as Case Western Reserve had a little bit of an opportunity early as Kyson Kroger was able to put a shot near the net. As here we have now a goal kick for Bradley Winter and the Spartans. But so far, not any golden opportunities for either team, as a lot of play has been towards the midfield. It will now be Nathan Bennett here in front of me, passing it off to his teammate. That's number 10, Ben Trask, who is ready for throw-in here. A little bit of confusion about which ball they wanted to use there. So it is Trask looking for a teammate, and he fires it down the field towards Lexo, gets a head on it, but ultimately is controlled once again by the Spartans, who has it to Philip Washington. Spartans can't control it. It's now being battled for where Lexo is in the middle of the field, but is not able to be received by the freshman Colton Jensen, and so it's now a throw-in for Case Western Reserve. The Spartans here, just a year ago, as we mentioned, they've had great success under Carter Poe. Had a successful UAA season, and I know it's important to Coach Poe and the Spartans today to try to get off to a good start against a team they defeated 3-0 last year. Although here, and a shove there from number 9. That's Pluschik. He thought it wasn't enough to make NYU fall down. That was Trask who fell down. But it was deemed that the contact was enough to draw a foul. And now we will have a free kick taken by Ibrahim on the near side of the field. He puts it in the box. It's going to be headed, and a score! Johannes Wolfram, the senior from Vienna, Austria, a beautiful ball there from Ibrahim. And Wolfram finished it, and that is the first goal of Wolfram's collegiate career. The senior had played 2 years at Division II University of Charleston, and now gets his first goal in NYU's violet colors. And it's going to be just like game 1, an early 1-0 lead now for NYU. Now the women's team took more than 1/2 to get on the board for the Violets, but in this game it just takes 7 minutes. And now that penalty is extra costly, as that free kick enabled NYU to set up a beautiful opportunity that was punctuated by Wolfram's header. And Case Western will have to play from behind here today. But luckily for them, we still have nearly 82 minutes for them to be able to come back in this one. That is the 5th goal allowed by Winter this year, but it's hard to put too much blame on him there, as it was a beautiful crossing ball, and Wolfram was able to time it perfectly to be able to make sure that he could get it into the net. Now here comes the Spartans on the offensive end, but it's Pluschik who's offsides. And so the ball will be returned to the Violets, where we will have a free kick. Pluschik, the one who was guilty of the penalty that set up the free kick. And once again, some confusion about where the ball should be placed. And the free kick for NYU, they choose to reverse Fields. And not a great touch there, so it's going to be in control then by the Spartans. So some good action there from the forward Brandon Kim, the senior from Columbus, Ohio. He has a goal this year in the season opener at Worcester. Kim had 4 goals and 4 assists just a year ago. So certainly somebody who can bring the action here for Case Western Reserve, as they will get a throw in, and it will be Philip Washington coming up to take the throw. He finds the grad student Landafield in the middle of the field, and he'll set up the attack, as Case Western Reserve will look to try to get on the scoreboard themselves, as we are now 10 minutes in to half number 1, as that's the defender, Philip Washington, up the sideline. Washington's a great speed for a defender. He puts it in the center. Not able to get a touch on it is Case Western Reserve. And so it looked like Kroger there decided not to put a touch on it so Pluschik could make one. But ultimately it ended up in 2 Case Western Reserve Spartans looking at the ball whizzing by. Really nice pass there from Washington on the end. For a defender, he's got some great speed there for the Spartans. And now it's ultimately back and controlled by the Violets. And so on the defensive line, the Violets will move the ball forward into the midline area, as it's controlled nicely by Case Western Reserve and Washington. And it will now be worked towards the center of the field with Landafield, who gets it back to his teammate on the defensive line, where it's once again controlled by Cook. So Case Western Reserve, some nice possession here. Some crisp passing as Washington again is kind of extending there on the far side to join the attack a bit. Case Western Reserve likely at this point in the game not going to have to make any schematic adjustments with the scoreboard at 1-0. But it's clear that they're hoping to utilize Washington's skills there on the far side and much more than just the defensive end. Washington does have an assist this season. And there's Kyson Kroger, who's able to steal the ball. He centers it, but it's cleared out by the Violets, where it finds Josh Cook, who's not able to make the play, and here comes the Violets. Washington momentarily clears it, but it's going to be controlled by the Violets around the midline, and it's now out to Nathan Bennett on the near side. Here comes Bennett. Fancy feet work. He pushes it back, where it's in front of the net. Oh, again, a wide open opportunity in front of the net. This time for Bryce Lexo, but Bryce Lexo could not get his head on it in a way that did not pop that thing straight up in the air. And man, another opportunity, a golden chance there for NYU to build a 2-goal lead. Instead, we remain 1-0. But Case Western Reserve's defense there, once again showing a little bit of vulnerability to this NYU attack. And similar to that game earlier today, it's the Violets who are bringing that early energy and creating those early scoring opportunities. So we have NYU here controlling the ball. Case Western Reserve applying some pressure. And it's stolen away here, but momentarily only. But Josh Cook does a nice job to come up from the center line to put the ball in play. It's now going to be controlled by Case Western Reserve. Tries to leave it off to Kroger. Kroger not on the same page as his teammate DeLikis. And is now into the possession of NYU. As this number 9, Tara Nagai, who has the ball. Some good start and stop speed for Nagai. Looks like he was trying to create something in action with Nathan Bennett. But a nice play there by number 9, Adam Pluschik, to be able to knock it out of bounds. Just about 13 minutes into this one here. For those that are also trying to watch their Case Western Reserve soccer while keeping an eye on the Guardians game in downtown Cleveland here. The Guardians have a quick 5-0 lead on the Detroit Tigers in the ALDS. So a huge sports day here in Cleveland, Ohio. And this doubleheader, definitely a big part of that, as NYU being one of the big rivals both academically and on the field to Case Western Reserve. We've seen one competitive game, and there's no reason to believe this one will be any different. So the ball's in the possession of Philip Washington as Case Western tries to get something going in the attacking zone. It's not controlled very well by the defensive line, and so it looks like the Case Western Reserve attacker there was looking for some kind of penalty, but DeLikis was not fouled. But now instead, we will have a penalty or a foul as Ibrahim was knocked to the turf. So definitely an opportunity there in the box for the Spartans as NYU struggled to clear. And DeLikis had an opportunity, but just got a cleat stuck in the grass before he was able to contact that ball. And it resulted in NYU being able to clear in front of Jackson McCloskey. Just about 15 minutes in here to the first half, as the Violets maintain possession. It's Nathan Bennett here right in front of me. He's got two Spartans defending him, and Bennett cuts through them both. But a really nice play there by Apostolides, who then gets fouled. And that foul was going to go on number 7, Nathan Bennett. So a really good play there by the Case Western Reserve defender, who sports the number 4. To prevent Bennett from creating any action in the defensive zone of the Spartans. As the ball tries to go through, but it's going to be instead taken away by NYU, and now similarly back to the Spartans. Just like in game 1, we're seeing a lot of physical play early on between these two conference opponents in the midfield. It's Cameron Thayer passing it back to the other side of the field with Josh Cook, who returns it to Thayer. Thayer, a sophomore from Lancaster, PA. And he looks up and finds Pluschik. And it's going to be returned to Apostolides. And Case Western Reserve doing a nice job here, controlling possession and looking to set something up that could help them get a shot on goal here in the first half. So it was Cook who passed it forward. It's going to be Kroger with a nice touch. He's going to use that speed along the outside, and it's going to create a goal kick, as Kroger was the last to touch it. Kroger also has some great speed there from the forward position. Not hard to see why he leads the team in points with that kind of burst. And NYU will want to make sure they keep an eye on him throughout the afternoon, as he certainly will be looking to add goal number 6 to get Case Western Reserve back into this one. So we're going to have a throw in here as Washington finds Landefield in the midfield. Landefield, the grad student who started his career at Michigan State, where both of his parents played soccer. And Landefield now in his second season as Washington boots it forward as they cross it into the middle of the field, but taken easily by Jackson McCloskey, who rolls it out to his teammate, Trask, to launch the possession for the Violets. Looked like Ibrahim just fell down there. He did, but he was able to get back up without allowing Case Western Reserve to regain possession. There's a nice play by the former Michigan State Spartan. Nice and easy transition for Landefield to go from the Michigan State Spartans to now the Case Western Reserve Spartans. As Case Western Reserve retains possession here. We're at the 27-minute mark, and it's still the early goal from Johannes Wolfram. That's the difference maker. And has given NYU the early 1-0 lead here. As NYU claims a pass from Case Western Reserve and pushes it into the attacking end. As that is Lexo, who's controlling the tempo and finds Bennett on the near side. He splits two defenders again, but a nice job there by number 6, Camden Larson from the midfield, coming in to make sure that he does not have a chance to find any of his teammates in the middle of the field. So they reset for Ibrahim, who winds up and instead goes short to Bennett. Bennett looking to make some men miss. He cannot. And it's going to go to the senior, Lucas Delikis, for Case Western Reserve, who then punches it back to the defensive line, where Case Western Reserve will start a new possession with Cameron Thayer and Josh Cook in the backfield. A long pass with a nice touch from Pluschik, who's shoved to the turf. And there's no call. So Case Western Reserve was looking for a call. Instead, it's now going to go up to Lexau, who is going to be denied on a nice play by Bradley Winter, who came up to make sure that Lexau could not get that touch before it got to Winter. Much to the crowd's dismay, and as well as Pluschik, there was no penalty as number 9 fell to the ground. It looked like there was some extension. Perhaps the referee felt that Pluschik made the fall a little harder than it needed to be. Alas, no harm, no foul, and that Case Western Reserve did not give up a goal on the other end. And now it's NYU back in possession here, as we just crossed the 25-minute mark in the first half, and the score still 1-0. So it's been a very busy half for Pluschik, the sophomore, as he's had some calls go against him, but couldn't get one for him there. He's been a busy part of the team, as we see now NYU looking to get upfield. But Pluschik has earned points in 3 straight games and had 2 goals last year as a freshman, and figures to be a big part of this team moving forward, as we have another man hit the turf. That's Nathan Bennett. And now these refs letting these guys play physical out there. So Pluschik, the midfielder, continuing to have a presence here today, as he will supply some pressure to Wolfram, who scored the goal early on here in the 6th minute for the Violets. And that's who has the ball here as he crosses fields. Some solid possession time here for the Violets. Unlike in the first game, possession's been a bit more equal here so far in game number 2. Although the only opportunity so far that resulted in a shot on goal has been for NYU. Though they also had an opportunity, really a golden opportunity, to get a second goal. But the ball went off of Alexo and over the net on the header, instead of Wolfram's header, which went into the back of the net. So the Spartans unable to connect a pass there, and it turns it over back to the Violets, as the ball is contended for at the center line. Ultimately won here by the Violets. So the Violets, who as I mentioned earlier, lost 3-0 to the Spartans team last year. Off to a much better start on this Saturday afternoon. Kim Wyatt has her team playing well early on. It's not surprising from a veteran coach. And some nice give and go there that results in Nathan Bennett falling to the ground and being fouled. And instead, it's just going to be a normal play on free kick, as Bennett was looking for more than that. He felt that he was ready to make a run and was going to be prevented from a scoring play. The referee disagreed, and now we have a throw-in for Philip Washington, as we have our first substitution of the half. And we do see here the aforementioned Bennett coming out of the game. And in his place, Marcelo Freire. And so Case Western Reserve has possession in their defensive end. They trail 1-0. About 24 minutes into this one. Some pressure from Lexo. But it's getting rid of, and now Kroger has it. It's poked away, but controlled by Larson, who smartly plays it back to Cook. And the ball ends up back with Washington on the defensive end, as Case Western Reserve looks to retain possession and create a scoring opportunity of their own here and try to knock this thing back up at 1. So a nice centering pass here from number 4, Pastolides, but it's controlled by McCloskey, and right back the other way come the Violets. It's Freire who has it here in front of me, who gets it back to Ibrahim. Ibrahim finds Trask, and Trask's attempt to center that ball goes off the foot of Ramon, and it's going to be a throw-in for the Violets. So the header, lots of headers so far today for our visitors from the Violets, as the near side ball is out of bounds off the foot of Apostolides, and it's going to be another throw in here for Trask. So Trask pointing out signals to his teammates as he centers it. A good ball. It just kind of lays around in there, and so the ball was lost there in between the defender. But ultimately, the ball is kicked wide of the net. So a little bit of a strange play there, as the ball was centered, knocked down, and then ultimately sat there untouched for a moment until it was discovered, but shot wide of the net. So now here come the Spartans looking to see if they could get anything going, as it'll be Trask again with a throw-in, as Kroger was not able to track down a long pass. But it's controlled again by the Spartans, as they have some nice give and go here in the midfield, as it ends up going wide now to Williams. But again, Williams cannot maintain it, and here come the Violets. The Violets pass it up the field. It's a nice leading pass, and the Violets are going to have a chance to center it. They do, but it goes wide, and it's headed out by Dykerhoff of Apostolides of Case Western Reserve, as it was Josh Cohen who centered it there. And now we will have a corner kick for the Violets, and it will be Ibrahim who delivered on the assist earlier to Wolfram, taking the corner kick. Ibrahim boots it in. It's a nice kick, and so the whistle blows, and it's offsides. It was Bryce Lexo who tried to get ahead on it, but not successful. And so we will have a Case Western Reserve free kick right in front of the net. Brandon Kim has returned for the Spartans. they are now about 28 minutes into this one, still looking for their first goal. It's maintained by Landafield in the middle, and he will pass it back here to Thayer, who stands right in front of me. Thayer looking. Wisely gives it back to Josh Cook to see if Josh Cook can get things started. The Spartans here playing under control, but a few costly mistakes in front of the net has them trailing 1-0, and again, could be potentially worse than 1-0. As here comes Kim. Kim up the field, but into 3 NYU defenders, and ultimately loses the ball, controlled by Ibrahim, but he gives it right back to the Spartans and Landafield. So it's Landafield who calms things down once again, gets it to Thayer. Thayer on the near side, directing traffic as he's looking for someone in the offensive zone. But instead, it's just going to be played back to the defense line again of Philip Washington, who finds Landafield in the middle of the field. And Case Western Reserve going to start making some motion towards the opposing side. But that time, a pass for Kroger was intercepted. And that's Daniel Gutierrez, the sophomore. And once again, Case Western Reserve maintains possession for a while, but they are not able to create any scoring opportunities with that possession. So a nice pass here across the field, and NYU will retain possession. As that was Nagai, who now is able to find Trask. Trask with a little bit of a give-and-go attempt, but it's kept by number 8, who does a nice job to maintain possession for NYU. Number 8 being Freyer. And we are just about 30 minutes into this one. And we remain 1-0 as Philip Washington does a nice job to intercept the NYU pass. And let's see if Case Western Reserve can turn this into some momentum towards the NYU goal as they finally find Kroger. But he boots it back to Washington, and they will look to reset and set up their attack. As once again, it's Thayer and Cook playing pass here in the backfield. Thayer's had a lot of touches today, as a nice through pass there from Landafield is intercepted. And NYU clears it out where it's headed by Lexo. And Lexo able to get another touch on it. But Landafield ultimately wins the possession in the middle of the field for the Spartans. And the Spartans now send a through pass to Brandon Kim. But it's way too far. And right into the arms of Jackson McCloskey. And the Violets will retain possession. 1-0 NYU. 14-15 remaining here in the first half of the UAA opener. Lexo heads it to nobody. So Philip Washington tracks it down. And he will reset on the defense line once again as Camden Larson plays point from the middle of the attack. They'll get it back over to Thayer. And Thayer now will look to direct traffic and see if he can find Larson in the middle of the field. Instead, it's Delakis. Delakis looks like he's thinking about the other side of the field. He is. He gets it to Landafield. Landafield stops, looking, deciphering, and he'll just decide to go back to Cook. So lots more possession here for Case Western Reserve. But still not many scoring opportunities for the host Spartans, as they now play along the far side of the field, where it's in the reach of Philip Washington, who gives it over to Cook, to send it back in the direction of Thayer, who is going to look to start the attack with the defenseman Apostolides. But right now, it's just a game of keep away for the Spartans, who aren't able to do much more than maintain possession. So Landafield boots it ahead, but once again, all that possession is for naught, as the through pass was simply to nobody but the goaltender Jackson McCloskey. And now McCloskey will boot it away, and we'll see if NYU can win any possession here. So Case Western Reserve, they are dominating possession now here late in the second half, but not able to do much with it, as now Trask gets it for the Violets. He plays it from the ground. He now gets a touch in the box, but it's going to be Washington who clears it out. As DeLikis applies some pressure, looking to see if he can get the ball back in the offensive zone. He's not successful. And so it's going to be Kim now having to apply some pressure to Ibrahim. As the ball gets played near the center line. And Case Western Reserve still chasing a 1-0 deficit here against the rival Violets. And a long pass controlled by Washington, who plays a little give and go with Larson. Washington loses his defender and is able to get over to Josh Cook. And Cook will look to help lead the attack here, as Thayer finds Washington on the opposite side. NYU pretty content here to allow Case Western Reserve to make these passes in the midfield, as the past few possessions, while Case Western Reserve has completed many of passes, it has led to exactly 0 opportunities to score. So we see a wave of substitutions here with about 10 minutes remaining, so we'll see if some fresh legs can add some energy and momentum here for the Spartans, who are looking desperately to get something going in the attacking third. Most of this half has been played either in their defensive end or a large chunk in the midfield, where they've played a lot of tic-tac-toe. But here is some of that tic-tac-toe in the center. We have Larson, who almost runs into his teammate. It's a little give and go, but a little too strong, as the pass can't find Larson, and now it's going to be the Violets coming up the far sideline. So a streaking opportunity here for the Violets. Looks like the defender fell down. He did. No foul on the play, and the Spartans are going to have possession, as Kim is streaking down the middle of the field. He has it. Kim, it's a 2-on-5 though for the Spartans. He wisely backs off as the rest of his teammates comes to join him, as Kim looks to go through the defense a little bit more, and it's going to be played there. And once again, we have some back and forth in the midfield. That's David Pineda, who plays defense in midfield, who has checked in here with about 10 minutes to go in the second half. Pineda applying a lot of pressure. And ultimately, it looks like that ball is just living on the sideline, and it's going to end up being a throw-in for NYU. .57 remaining here in the first half. NYU still leading 1-0. As Case Western Reserve has dominated possession for much of this half, but much of it being on their side of the field. And so Larson has the ball, plays it back to Washington, who's played the entire half along with Josh Cook and Cameron Thayer. All three of these defenders have been consistent players here in the first half. Thayer, though, gets the ball taken away. So a really nice play there by NYU. That was Freyer, number 8. And all Thayer could do was kick it out of bounds, so Freyer couldn't go up and try to create a scoring opportunity for his Violets. So it will be Trask again with the throw-in. It was Lexo who tried to get a touch on it. Looked like it was his upper arm. But but alas, nobody was on the other end. And so it will be a throw-in for Case Western Reserve. It's Apostolides who will do the throwing for Case Western Reserve, as we have another chain of substitutions here. 7 minutes and 25 seconds remaining in the first half. And the ball is in a very consistent position of the Case Western Reserve backfield. This is now being handled by Christian Tan, the first year. Owen Guffey, the first-year midfielder from St. Louis, Missouri. Played high school soccer at Webster Groves. So we'll see now if Case Western Reserve can get anything going in these final moments before half. Apostolides gets his own ball back. A nice pass through the legs of a defender. It finds Kim. And now goes back to Apostolides, who tries to find Kim, who was cutting, but ultimately was knocked out of bounds by NYU. So over 6 minutes to play here. Thayer finds Apostolides, who gets it back into the midfield. Nice spacing there by Case Western Reserve, but a really nice slide tackle there for number 24, Camperin. But the ball is ruled out of bounds as Case Western Reserve tries to win the possession. They ultimately cannot save it, and now NYU will have a throw-in, which is under 6 minutes to play here in the first half. So the ball is battled forward, and ultimately we're going to have a throw-in here for Case Western Reserve as it last hit off of Lexo. It's Philip Washington, kicks it forward here, but unable to get a foot on it was number 27, Ota Kamaya, the sophomore from Torrance, California. And it's back into the hands of the goalkeeper, Jackson McCloskey. So Case Western Reserve doing well to control the ball here in the midfield, which they've done all half. But they will need to make some adjustments here at intermission to make sure that they can turn that possession into scoring opportunities. That star forward of theirs, Kyson Kroger, had one opportunity early in the game, but since has not been near the net and currently is not on the pitch. So it's Cameron Thayer. Some pressure from Lexo. It's not going to be a pass from Apostolides looking for Kim, but he could not make it happen, so it goes back to Cook after it's cleared. And he'll find his comrade, Philip Washington, and he pushes it past Lexo, as the Spartans once again will flip the field. The Spartans trying to keep NYU off balance and make him make a mistake, but so far that's not the case. But a nice ball here as it's pushed through to Kim. Kim shoots, and it's a really nice save from McCloskey. And that's exactly what I was just talking about. You almost want to lull NYU to sleep. And right there, a beautiful pass and a through ball to Brandon Kim, but just not enough on it. And Jackson McCloskey was able to get a mitt on it, as it looked like Kim's shot was going to sneak in. But a good save from McCloskey. And now we have a delay as we have Bryce Lexo, NYU star senior forward, on the ground. Looks like might be dealing with some cramping of some kind, as the NYU medical trainer comes out and assists. And so as the adjustments are made, we have a substitution as For NYU, it's Joe Brancato, a freshman midfielder from locally Shaker Heights, Ohio, checking into the game for the final 3 minutes. Has a really strong fan and friend contingency here, as Case Western Reserve tries their best to get possession in the offensive zone, but it's ultimately cleared out here by the Violets. And it's going to be NYU and Mauricio passing the ball forward, where it's now controlled by Thayer, who finds his goaltender Winter, as Case Western Reserve will try to load up here and make at least one more run towards the net before they enter intermission. It's Kim, and Kim hits it. It looked like he was looking for his teammate in the midfield. Instead, it's intercepted by the Violets, though that's where Josh Cook sits. And it's Cameron Thayer who maintains possession for the Spartans. Just over 2 minutes to go here in the first half. A slower paced game than what we saw earlier this morning. Lots of possession by Case Western Reserve, but not as much possession as NYU women had earlier today, and also less scoring opportunities, as their give-and-go attempt is not successful, but Brandon Kim's able to get a foot on it. Or excuse me, that wasn't Brandon Kim, but number 27, Ota Kamaya, to keep possession for Case Western Reserve. But ultimately now it's back in the possession of the Violets. There's the always steady Philip Washington. He is able to retain possession for the Spartans as they once again reverse fields and look to create something in these final seconds. About 90 of them now in the first half, as a collision there between two number 13s, as it was Cameron Thayer being knocked down by Julian Resio, but it will stay with the Spartans as it's controlled now. We have Postolides, who gets it back here to Washington. We have just over a minute here in the first half. A centering pass, and unable to get a foot on it is the sophomore Kamaya, as he extended his leg, but unfortunately for the Spartans, was not successful in getting a touch. And as we now come up on 45 seconds to go here in the first half, you have to wonder if that was their last opportunity to get on the board before the halftime break. So a long ball is booted by McCloskey. It's once again controlled by the Spartans. We'll see if they try to use these 26 seconds to make something happen. Cook does get it upfield. McCloskey came way out of the net, but luckily for McCloskey, his team was able to control it. There's a long pass here that goes out of bounds, but only 10 seconds left here for Thayer. Apostolides is going to kick it forward. It's going to be touched by NYU. They boot it into the air, and that is going to be the end of the first half. So at halftime here, it is NYU 1, Case Western Reserve 0, with the only goal of the game coming in the 6th minute from Johannes Wolfram, the senior from Vienna, Austria, who scored his first career goal today. And we now will take a 15-minute halftime break, as Case Western Reserve will look to draw something up to get themselves even here with their UAA rivals, the NYU Violets. We'll be right back to talk about the first half and also the Case Western Reserve football team when we return. Hey fans, have you downloaded the new CWRU Spartans app yet? Featuring real-time news alerts, schedules, exclusive multimedia content, game day details, and more. The new CWRU Spartans app is both free and compatible with iOS and Android devices. Visit your phone's app store and search CWRU to download today. We are back here at DiSanto Field as it is halftime, and the Case Western Reserve Spartans men's soccer team trails 1-0 at halftime in their UAA conference opener against the NYU Violets. This coming after a very exciting 1-1 draw earlier today between these two same opponents on the women's side. And this game, while not quite as action-packed, has seen just as an impressive goal as we've seen all day, as the lone goal is from Johannes Wolfram, who had a really great header in the 6th minute of action. And that is why we stand at 1-0. Now, down at Allegheny College, Case Western Reserve's football team is playing their 4th game of the season, and at halftime there, it's the Spartans ahead 44-7 over the host Allegheny. The Spartans have 17 first downs in the first half, compared to just 3 for Allegheny, and their quarterback Alex Fromberg, the graduate student, has 2 touchdowns, 286 passing yards, and 31 rushing yards to boot. His favorite target of the past few years, Noah Coyne, has 4 catches for 130 yards. And also, Dylan Cave has 2 touchdown receptions for Case Western Reserve, as well as 5 receptions and 128 total yards. So it's another great day on the football field for Case Western Reserve. They're outgaining their opponent 393-53 at halftime. So Case Western Reserve well on their way to win number 4 on the football side. Another fall sport that's having a fantastic start to the season is the Case Western Reserve volleyball team, who is now 16-2 on the season. And this week they beat Oberlin in straight sets, and they won the first set against Oberlin 25-3. So clearly a very dominant performance there from the Spartans, and they are now ranked 16th in the country at the Division III level for women's volleyball. So in the second half here, we'll be looking to see if Case Western Reserve can start to put more pressure towards the net. In the first half, they had 2 shots, with just one of those being on goal, while the NYU Violets did have 1 goal and 3 total shots. So we'll be right back. We got about 6 minutes until the second half of action is going to start. When we return, it's the second half of play between Case Western Reserve and NYU here on the soccer pitch. right, we are back here for the second half of action in today's UAA opener between the hosts Case Western Reserve Spartans and the visitors from the Big Apple, the NYU Violets, who have a 1-0 lead here with the only goal of the afternoon so far from Johannes Wolfram. And it'll be the Spartans here who will be taking the kick to start the second half. And we'll see what kind of energy and offensive execution they come out with here in the second half. As we talked about a lot on the first half in this broadcast, lots of possession for the Spartans, especially throughout most of the latter portion of that second half. But it resulted in very few opportunities towards the net. So we'll see if the Spartans do anything different here in the second half schematically, or if they hope that they can somewhat lull NYU to sleep like they nearly did at the end of the first half, which almost resulted in a Brandon Kim goal. So right away up the sideline is an opportunity for Case Western Reserve, and falling hard to the turf. Looks like that's Apostolides who fell hard. And so it's going to be a free kick here for Field as the Spartans are looking to get started. Nathan Bennett and Apostolides exchanging some not so pleasantries as they're fighting for ground here in the box. And Field now gets the ready. He's going to boot it in there. This time the header is off the post. So it looks like here we have an offsides call. So it's a really nice kick there by Field. And there was a lot happening in front of the net. But ultimately, it's an offsides call on the Spartans. And it's booted away by McCloskey. And the possession is now retained by the Spartans. So an early chance again for Case Western Reserve in the early portion of the second half. This opportunity denied by an offsides call. But as you can see, the Spartans here are thinking aggressively to start the second half, as once again McCloskey is out far. But it is once again offsides. McCloskey was nearly out of the box as he was looking to interrupt that pass. But it was offsides before McCloskey or the Case Western Reserve player could get to the ball. So Washington throws it in. It's interrupted by NYU, and they will cross the field as they will look to get some possession and get some offense going here, as that is the senior Ben Trask leaving it off for Bennett. Bennett has 2 Case Western Spartans on him, and he does find Ibrahim as the ball now is on out to the outside to the freshman Jensen. Jensen has it tipped away by Washington and then ultimately cleared out by Case Western Reserve. And so they go back to the top point to Ibrahim to try to set things back up again. So a bit more action here to start the second half than we saw in most of that first half. Both teams here playing with some good energy coming out of the halftime break. As we see on the defensive end now, it's Wolfram who will boot it up, but nice job by Washington to head that to a teammate. And now Cook is going to look upfield, and he's looking for number 7, Delikis, who fights for a possession and a throw-in. And it'll go now back to Josh Cook. So Cook switches fields again to Thayer. Thayer, Cook, and Washington. 3 players who have played this whole game thus far and likely will throughout the rest of the contest. As the ball is fought for and won by Nathan Bennett in the midfield. And here come the Violets as they get it out wide now to Jensen. Jensen looks towards the middle of the field where he is able to find Nagai. He's going to leave it wide, and now here come the Violets on the far right side, but whoa! That centering cross was not remotely close. From this angle, it's hard to tell if it would have been a good field goal, but he definitely seemed to be aiming for the football uprights. And now Case Western Reserve, but once again, earned possession here. We are about 5 minutes into the second half. The score remains 1-0 in favor of NYU. Here comes Case Western Reserve on the near side as they look to get something going, but ultimately it results in Washington getting about back to Cook, who will have it to Thayer to switch field and try to get something going in the direction of Kyson Kroger. Again, Case Western Reserve's #1 goal scorer, Kyson Kroger, had one opportunity early, but otherwise has really not been a part of the picture. But as I speak about him, here he comes. Kyson Kroger up the near side. He's going to center it. A beautiful pass. It's controlled by the Spartans. It's going to be Larson in the middle of the field. Nice job by NYU to kind of regroup there and make sure that no shot on goal was going to happen. Now it's centered again. It's headed, and it's scored! Kyson Kroger! Oh, a beautiful header! And in the same spot where Johannes Wolfram had a goal for NYU in the first half, Case Western Reserve answers with a header of their own from none other than Kyson Kroger, his 6th goal of the year, and it is now 1-1 early in the second half. So I was just speaking his name and how Case Western Reserve is going to want to get him involved in action here. And immediately Kyson Kroger finds the ball and is able to score a goal and knot this thing up at 1 goal apiece. So far it's the same script, folks. We saw in the first game, NYU got on the board first, and Case Western Reserve answered, and that's what's happened so far here in the second half. So we'll see now in these final 39 minutes if the script changes whatsoever, or if we'll have just the same script as game 1 and we end in a 1-1 draw on the men's side as well. So here are the Spartans. Near side, number 22. That's Pineda. Ultimately, his advancement is denied by the Violets, so Winter comes out and helps out, gets the ball to Washington, who plays a little bit of a dangerous ball back to Winter, who does a nice job to clear it out. A beautiful header there, though, by Delaikis. He gets it off to Pineda. And once again, Case Western Reserve now maintains possession. And this here is what Carter Poe is looking for. He likes to have this possession, especially when the team is tied or the team is in the lead. Here's a nice lead pass that's just a little bit wide. But this game now really starting to play into Carter Poe and the Spartans' hands as they have knotted things up at 1. And also, this possession game where they want to play keep away and tire out those NYU players, it's right where Coach Poe wants it right now. So nice defense there by Washington. And so losing it there in the midfield was the freshman Jensen. So now it's Pineda here right in front of me, who plays a little bit of give and go and finds Delaikis. He's going to center it. It's a nice pass. It's blocked. Oh, man, Kellen Landefield had an opportunity. A beautiful centering pass there. Landefield got it, made a nice first touch, but couldn't get it over the goalkeeper McCloskey. So a really nice job there by Jackson McCloskey, who didn't have much to do in half number 1, but suddenly now is quite busy here in the second half. We have a corner kick, and it goes through the box, and is now being chased down by Case Western Reserve, and it was successfully, as they now will regroup near the football field's 30-yard line. But we almost just saw Kellen Landefield's first career goal. Or excuse me, second career goal. He has scored 1 goal this year. But instead, a nice save by McCloskey, and we are still tied at 1. So now here's the Violets, a beautiful pass from Laxo over to Bennett. Bennett fires it, and he hits it off the crossbar. And again, by crossbar, I mean the field goal post. And Nathan Bennett absolutely fired that thing. But with all that power, it went about 10 feet over the net, ricocheted off the crossbar, and now it's Case Western Reserve's ball from just outside their box. Got about 10 minutes remaining here. Much more action here in the second half thus far than we saw in the first half. And as I mentioned action, there's a whistle as Kroger is knocked down. And it draws a free kick for Case Western Reserve. I don't think that Ben Trask, who was the one who whistled for the foul, very much agreed with that call. Trask does not have much size compared to Kroger, but Kroger fell to the ground there. I think Trask was saying, how could I have knocked him over quite like that? But regardless, it is Case Western Reserve with a free kick here, as is going to be taken in. McCloskey does a nice job to prevent Apostolides from getting his head on it. And so Landefield has been busy with a nice cross, but a good, even better play by McCloskey. So the ball being fought for, and once again won by Case Western Reserve in the midfield. Man, the Spartans really came out well here in the second half. Carter Poe got his team ready to go here, as they have really played a good half. Have had several opportunities to score some goals, including the one that was converted by Kroger. And NYU really on their heels here, as Pineda has possession in front of me, battling with Jensen, and ultimately controlled by Washington and the Spartans. It's the senior Josh Cook maintaining possession near the goal box. And now here come the Spartans looking to get back into the attack. 33-48 here to go in the second half of this UAA opener for both teams. It's Pineda who makes a run for it. Josh Cook was the one that sent that deep. But again, McCloskey doing a nice job here. The sophomore certainly is not afraid to step out of that goal. He's done well a number of times. There was one earlier in the game where I felt he was close to being out of that box on a ball that was coming his way. But he's done a nice job here, including saving a potential second goal here in the second half. So the sophomore from Douglasville really stepping up big here for his NYU Violets. So here are those possessing Spartans, as Larson and Cook, Thayer and Washington control the ball and the tempo here. The Spartans, though, are getting themselves out into the midfield and the attacking zone much more frequently here in the second half, as we have another whistle. This time a pretty clear whistle that can't be denied, as that was Nathan Bennett who brought Apostolides to the ground. And Apostolides, he's also done a really nice job here this afternoon, as Case Western Reserve continues to try to earn possession. Here they will not have it, and here comes on the attack Nagai, who looks up for Jensen, who has it on the near side. The senior Washington on him. It's going to be centered and cleared out nicely by Case Western Reserve. And so no go there for NYU on the attack, and instead here comes Case Western Reserve. It's Landefield. Landefield finds the middle of the field where it is taken away, and Nagai will get it back. And now it is the Violets on the attack. Back out to Jensen on the perimeter. But once again, it is Washington who takes it away from Jensen, and he finds Pineda, who's coming up the near side. That is a tough matchup there for Jensen. Colton Jensen, the freshman from Arlington, Virginia, has had a fantastic freshman season. 2 goals, 2 assists for the youngster. But the junior defender, Philip Washington, has given him all he can handle so far this afternoon. As Case Western Reserve and Thayer maintain possession. You can see a little bit of frustration from NYU's best player, Bryce Lexo, as he's really been ball chasing a lot as Case Western Reserve's been keeping it away from him. And a couple times you've seen the body language of frustration. As in the backfield, NYU wins a ball that looks like they could have been called for a little two-hand shove there that was not. But these referees letting him be quite physical here today, both on the women's and men's side. As here comes Jensen, once again on the near side, this time being covered by Cook. He gives it off into the corner. A centering pass that's going to be played by the defense instead of Winter in the goal. I don't know if Winter didn't call that, but it looked like Winter could have ended the possession by claiming that ball. Instead, NYU still has it. Another centering pass is denied, as that was Apostolides who got his foot on it. And so we have a throw-in, and the centering throw-in is controlled by NYU, fought for by Bennett, and Bennett retains possession. Some nice footwork there, and the ball ends up with Ibrahim. Just under 30 minutes to go here, still 1-1. It's been a really exciting second half so far after a relatively slow first half, not a lot of action. Both teams really stepping it up here, knowing that a point, if not 3 with a win, is really in reach here. So Case Western Reserve will once again control the tempo from their back line. Washington finds Pineda. Pineda's played a really nice half so far here for Case Western Reserve. He's looking for Kroger. He cuts through 3 defenders, gets it up to Kroger, who though gets bodied a bit out of the way there by Wolfram. And NYU gets possession. Kroger there a little bit off balance, and Wolfram, who was not off balance, able to step in there and earn that ball in front of Kroger. But a really nice job by Pineda to even get a chance to get that ball to Kroger by weaving in and out of a couple defenders. Some headers here from Josh Cook and Larson in the midfield. It's all for naught as the ball is still won by Case Western Reserve, but a nice play there in the defense by Apostolides. He gets it away from Bennett, and Case Western Reserve wins the ball back. Now, I mentioned earlier how Kyson Kroger was quiet. Quiet for NYU right now is Bryce Lexo. You wonder, is that frustration going to be something that prevents him from being able to score a goal, or is it going to be something that can fuel him to get in front of the net and give his team the lead? But because of all this possession so far, as Case Western Reserve continues to possess the ball, as a whistle is blown, and we see a thorough pass. And there's a penalty. Now, it's going to come down to where the referee says the penalty is. It's either going to be outside the box or inside the box. And it looks like the ball is going to be placed just outside the box. So we do not have a penalty kick, but we had a beautiful through pass. It was a quick turnaround on the penalty. And it caught NYU asleep a bit. And so it is going to be a free kick, but not a penalty kick for Case Western Reserve. A little bit of extracurricular activity after the play, but it seems all has calmed down. And now Case Western Reserve has a chance here to take a lead with 28 minutes to go in the game as NYU gets ready to set up their wall, which Kyson Kroger wants them to have no part of. And Case Western Reserve has Pineda and Landefeld standing near the ball to potentially take this free kick, which is about 2 yards outside the box. So who's it going to be? Pineda, Landefeld. It's Pineda off the post. Off the post again. Unbelievable. What an opportunity for Case Western Reserve as Pineda took a beautiful shot around the wall to hit the post. There was then a follow-up attempt as the ball bounced around and it hit the post again. So now we have a corner kick, and Case Western Reserve will look to get this second goal in the net. And so here it is. It is Pineda. It is a beautiful kick, punched out nicely by McCloskey, and it's won by Ibrahim outside the box, and the ball bounds away, out of bounds. And so it's going to be Case Western Reserve's throw-in. Case Western Reserve in the second half has come to play, folks. Some really great opportunities, some really great goaltending from Jackson McCloskey, and also a little bit of luck on NYU's side has kept this game at 1-1, but the first 18 minutes of this half has been all Case Western Reserve. So now possessing the ball in the midfield is NYU. They find Nathan Bennett on the perimeter. His pass is intended for Ben Trask, but not nearly close enough to Trask to make a run at it. And again, you wonder a little bit if the frustration of NYU not possessing the ball, not getting scoring opportunities, is kind of allowing them to make those easier, simple mistakes like passing a through ball 3 to 4 feet in front of the defender. And Case Western Reserve has possession once again. 26 minutes to play. Here they come into the attacking zone. A much more aggressive attacking team in the second half have been these Spartans. As the ball rotates to Washington here on the near side in front of me, it's over to Pineda, who's been simply fantastic here in the second half. He continues to be a wizard with the ball. A nice pass to Landefeld in the middle of the field, who's not able to control it, and it goes off of Pineda and out of bounds, and it will be a throw-in for the Violets. So the throw-in is controlled by NYU, and there's going to be a whistle, looks like on Pineda, who was trying to get that ball. And instead there's going to be a whistle, and Freire is the one who drew it. So we have Felipe Ramon now taking a free kick for NYU. Ooh, near collision there on the header. Really nice job by both players not to have a nasty collision there. Ultimately, it is now controlled by NYU in their own zone. It's turned over, and it's now going to be shot and saved by McCloskey. Delikis had an opportunity, and he let it rip. And Jackson McCloskey with another good save here. In the first 20 minutes of this half, Jackson McCloskey has been busy. And yet he has come through, just allowing the one goal to score and making numerous saves since then. And after a few substitutions, we now have a corner kick for the Spartans. It is Brandon Kim. So the senior Brandon Kim taking the corner kick. He boots it in front of the net. It's going to be thrown in front, and a nice job to clear it out by NYU. And now it is headed out towards about the 20-yard line on the football field here. And won by NYU. And there's a potential breakaway opportunity, but Philip Washington smartly back there to break it away. So Bryce Lexo had a chance at it if that ball wasn't quite hit so hard. But instead, Washington is able to recover, and he gets it back to his goalkeeper, Winter. And Winter able to push it back into the attacking zone. So that's a close but not quite there for Lexo. You do not want him to have the ball in that situation if you are Case Western Reserve. Philip Washington was there, so he would have been able to help defend. But man, that was a close situation there with so many players in the attacking zone. So a throw in here is earned by NYU. And we now have number 13, Julian Rocio, into the game for NYU. As once again, it's one in the midfield by Case Western Reserve. Larson, though, gets it stripped. And it's now going to be pushed forward to Freyer, who makes a nice move around Washington. He centers himself, looking for Bennett on the far side. However, he's not able to get it there, as it's interrupted there by Case Western Reserve, but ultimately back into the reach of NYU. We'll see if NYU here is able to keep possession a little while. It seems like it's been nearly 50 minutes of gameplay since NYU has really been able to dictate the tempo and pace of the game. So we'll see what they manage to do here. This one is up for Lexo, but it's going to be ultimately interrupted by Thayer, who tries to clear it. It hits off of one of his own men, and NYU now has it back to Lixo, who looks like, again, he used his arm. They said it was inadvertent. I'm not quite sure about that. But regardless, we play on. And now we have the Violets working it around, switching the fields, as they will look to try to break into this Case Western Reserve defense. There's a nice pass towards the middle of the field, but it's a little bit too high. And Case Western Reserve will get another goal kick. And so as we have some more substitutions here, Case Western Reserve controls the ball. It is Larson giving it over to Thayer. Thayer giving it back to Cook, who mans the defensive line in the center of the field. Cook is going to have a nice through ball that is defended nicely by NYU, but lands in the lap of Kyson Kroger. Kroger giving it off to the wing, who will ultimately give it back here to Philip Washington on the defensive line. Washington looking to cross fields, and they do so successfully, getting it over to Thayer. And Thayer is going to get it off to the left side wing, as Case Western Reserve looking to get goal number 2 here on the afternoon. As Kroger gets a touch, but it's not controlled well, and it gets back into the grasp of NYU. 20 minutes to play now, second half, 1-1, just like our game earlier today. On the near side of the field now, we have number 17, Charlie Wittenberg, the senior from Los Angeles, California. And the throw-in is awarded to NYU, despite much pleading from the Case Western Reserve sideline. But the ball is going to be saved and in play for Bradley Winter. So nice job there from the defense in Winter to keep that in bounds. And now Case Western Reserve can reset as they have their senior, Josh Cook, manning the point of that defensive line. It's now going to be Washington surveying the field. These Spartans really trying to make Lexo run up there at the forward position. Really don't want him to get those legs back. And now it's played forward for Case Western Reserve. They have some action towards the center, but it's well defended, and it's not able to be through to Delikis. And now it's in Lexo's grasp, who is fouled. And it's going to be a free kick for Case Western, or excuse me, for NYU. So Sean Wilson there. Little physical contact with Lexo. Lexo hit the turf, but Lexo's okay, and he now stands near the goal box as NYU has some rare possession here. 1-1 with 18 minutes to go in the second half. That ball is controlled by Bennett. Bennett holding off 2 defenders from Case Western Reserve. You can tell Bennett has definitely been on their radar throughout the afternoon. The ball finds Bennett once again, and he leads it up to a teammate. But on the far side of the field there, the defense is able to knock that ball out of bounds. And so it will be a throw-in near the corner for NYU. NYU not able to control it, so here comes Case Western Reserve. Although they are more than content to hold that ball back and pass it along the defense line. We've seen this a lot today from the Spartans. But as we've seen throughout the game, NYU certainly seems to have tired much more than Case Western Reserve has. And you can't help but wonder if that's a little bit because of that possession. As NYU there was trying to get it through to Lexo. But Thayer was not going to let that happen, and Winter was able to get there. So a little bit of momentum here for NYU. They seem to be the ones pressing a bit more on the offensive end and controlling the opportunities. As now we have a little bit of a run from Nagai. Nagai is looking for Ibrahim, who's going to pass it off here to Bennett on the right side. So another opportunity potentially here as Bennett centers it. It's in front of the net. So Lexo got a touch on it, but it wasn't towards the goal, and there was no other NYU player there. I don't imagine Lexo, was looking to pass there, but it did go off of his foot and served as a pass to another potential teammate, but nobody was there. So Lexo can't take advantage of the opportunity in front of the net. And Case Western Reserve now regains possession with 16 minutes to go in the game. And after that ball is kicked out of bounds, you can see Lexo, he kind of hunches over and touches his toes, and maybe a little bit of exhaustion, but maybe also just a little bit of frustration that he couldn't get a better foot on that ball. Even on a day where Bryce Lexo is not able to get a goal, which he is not so far today, which is not to say he can't, he still definitely makes an impact on this game. And Case Western Reserve really has to make sure they are defending him smartly. And so it's going to be an NYU throw-in here as Case Western Reserve loses it out of bounds, but they are in their attacking zone. We have a few more substitutions as we hit the 15-minute mark in this ball game. So Case Western Reserve controls the throw-in, but it's immediately turned over and back into the possession of NYU, who has done well to kind of survive the tide, which was the Case Western Reserve attack. Oh, but a beautiful play there by Case Western Reserve. In front of the net is Kroger, and it's going to earn them a corner kick. But on the far side of the field, some beautiful footwork from Ota Kamaya to create an opportunity at all. And now that's going to be Pineda who can take the corner kick. All right, so here is the corner. The ball is in. An attempted header by Josh Cook. He was not able to get enough contact, if any at all, to be able to make the ball die in the box. Instead, it goes out towards the midfield area. Now it's controlled by NYU, who is streaking downfield. Watch out for Lexo. The ball goes towards the other field, but there is going to be a whistle as Case Western Reserve was frantically trying to get back to defend. It looks like number 9, that's Tara Nagai, was the one who was fouled. And so now we'll have an opportunity for NYU on a free kick. So a good opportunity here for NYU to try to get back on the board or at least create a scoring opportunity, which they have not had much of since the first half. So here's Ibrahim. He's the one that set up the first goal. He's going to punch it into the box, and no contact, as once again it looked like they were trying to go for a header on the backside of the net, but unable to make contact was Lexo, and it is still 1-1 here with 12:49 to play. We have another update from Allegheny College, where Case Western Reserve's football team now leads 51-7. They are starting the fourth quarter, so 15 minutes away from the Spartans, being 4-0 in conference and on the season. And here we have 12 minutes and 25 seconds to decide if Case Western Reserve men's soccer is going to be able to start their conference season with a win, as that pass is knocked out of the box by NYU, controlled nicely by Case Western Reserve, and they will kind of reset here in the midfield with Landafield. So Landafield here stands near the 45-yard line on the football field, and he looks up and he finds an attacker. It's Plusnik, who gets it into the box. A nice move, centered, and a beautiful play there by Apostolides, but Kroger was not expecting him to provide a pass there, and it kind of goes aimlessly off of his shin guards and out of play. So Plusnik made a really nice play to create an opportunity for Apostolides, who then tried to get the ball to Kroger, but a little bit hectic, and Kroger not able to do anything with the ball. And we now have 11 minutes to play as the ball falls to the turf after two defenders did not know where that went after a dueling header attempt. But now it is back to Case Western Reserve with 11:25 to go here in the second half. 1-1. If you're just joining us, NYU scored in the 6th minute, and then Case Western Reserve scored early in the second half to knot us up at 1. The Spartans have had numerous chances here in the second half, but some great goaltending from Jackson McCloskey has prevented them from getting onto the scoreboard for a second time. And now here we sit at a 1-1 score with just about 10 minutes remaining. So on the back line, it's Thayer. Thayer looking to direct some traffic from the back line, as he and his defender teammates have done all day. And here they come now up the far side. It's going to be Apostolides who leaves it for Landafield, who's going to flip field to get it to Washington, the junior defender from Ellicott City. And now it's going to go all the way back over to Thayer, who is crossing the mid-stripe, but ultimately the ball is going to be cleared back all the way to the keeper, Winter, who controls it and gets it to Cook. So just now 10 minutes to play, and if either team's going to want to start the year with a conference victory, they're going to need to make something happen here in the final 10. And now we have a stoppage of play at 9:52 as we had a Violet fall to the ground. Looks like he took a shot to the chest, but he's okay. He pops up, got his hands on his head, hoping to catch his breath a little bit there. And who can blame him? Because if you've ever been hit with a ball in the chest or the stomach, that can definitely take the air out of you. But regardless, here we are now with Josh Cook with a through ball. He's looking for Plusnik, who is fighting with some defenders up there, but he is going to be whistled for a foul. Plusnik definitely mixing it up today with those defenders for NYU. But you know, Carter Poe has to love the energy and aggression to try to get his team a second goal and a win here today, as that free kick looked like it was sent more to Case Western Reserve, and it's ultimately going to be claimed by them in the backfield, as that is Thayer who gets the ball and pushes it forward to Landefield. Lots of space here, and now Pineda, using that space, can control it, does a nice job with his first touch. He's going to give it back to Washington, so something may be brewing here for Case Western Reserve. Pineda looking forward, oh, but a nice denial there by NYU. It looked like for a moment there, something was starting to happen there for Case Western Reserve. But ultimately, it's denied, and now the play's back in the midfield. Sean Wilson there had a chance, it looked like, if Pineda could get the ball to him to do something. But instead, it was denied, and now we have another foul near the midline. And once again, Case Western Reserve is going to act quick here as they get a centering pass towards Kroger, but a nice job by NYU to not allow Kroger to make a touch. Here now comes NYU and Lexo, really busy and active on the ball. You can see Lexo really trying to make something happen as he continues to chase that ball around. It's now in the middle of the field, where it will go back to Philip Washington to kind of give us a reset here as Pineda takes the ball in front of me on the near side. He's going to try to shake a defender loose. Instead, he loses control of the ball, and it's going to go towards the middle to Ibrahim and NYU. Oh, man. It looks like there Bennett not on the same page, expressing a little bit of frustration there with his teammates as he was really looking for a lead pass. He didn't get one. But a nice gesture there from Bennett to tap his teammate on the chest as he walked off the pitch. And so Case Western Reserve will get the ball here. 7:27 to go. And Kroger with a nice touch. And let's see now if Case Western Reserve can make anything happen in the attacking area. It's going to be Pineda going up for a header. He's not able to win it, but it's going to be contested. And ultimately, a possession is won as a whistle is blown as Ota Kamaya is able to earn a free kick. And a little bit of a delay of game here, so the clock will stop as the ball bounced away after play was ruled dead. So the clock will start on the free ball here. 7:07 to go. It's going to be Pineda who takes the kick. So an opportunity here for Case Western Reserve. The clock is winding. So Pineda now gets the all ready to go. He boots it, and it's going to be wide of the net. Nobody home, and it's a goal kick. Just didn't seem to be on the same page there at any point throughout that play. As Pineda waited a moment to kick it, it seemed like he wasn't quite sure what was going to happen on the other end of it. And unfortunately for the Spartans, it aimlessly bounces out of bounds. And now with just 6:33 to go, we are all knotted up at 1. And it's now NYU looking to see if they can make something happen. But again, it's Bennett, and it goes off of his foot. And it will be Case Western Reserve's ball. Lots of possession, lots of opportunities for Case Western Reserve in this half. But so far, only able to make something of one of them. As the ball is wrestled away by Bennett in the midfield. He tries to do a little bit of a spin move there, but the ball is taken away. And nicely played there by Postolides, who comes out with the ball. And now there's an opportunity for Case Western Reserve. It's Kroger, who tries to leave it for his teammates. Is successful in that Kamaya now has the ball. It's shots, and it's blocked just outside of the box. And Philip Washington steps up, makes a nice play on it. Philip Washington, one of the more steady, reliable players here today for Case Western Reserve, making yet another nice play. He has it now on the near side. That one was a little bit of an aimless pass and was intercepted by NYU. And there's a cutting Bennett. And that's what he wanted, but Bennett was not able to get it. And it looks like now we have a Case Western Reserve defender cramping, as both of these teams have really been playing hard here in the second half. And so we will have another stoppage as a player needs to be treated by the medical staff, as they hopefully will be able to work out those cramps or Charlie horse or whatever it may be that is slowing him down at the moment. We updated that Case Western Reserve football was up 51-7. Well, 5 miles from DiSanto Field at Progressive Field, the Cleveland Guardians now lead the Detroit Tigers 7-0 in the 7th inning of Game 1 of the American League Divisional Series. So far a good sports day in Cleveland with 2 great soccer matchups here, and the Cleveland Guardians ahead comfortably 7-0 in Game 1 of their series. And then, of course, the football team in Allegheny up by 44. And that's going to be a card, as a very clear jersey tug to prevent any sort of forward momentum there. Looks like he was awarded a yellow card. You need to be careful if you are NYU and not allowing too many opportunities for Case Western Reserve here in the final minutes, and not making too many silly mistakes, like potentially having an egregious foul that could potentially give Case Western Reserve an opportunity at a scoring chance. So the clock there reset to 5:04. Case Western Reserve has possession. They have 5 minutes to try to get ahead in this game, as now Pineda on the near side able to maintain possession. It's Larson who does a nice job to move back towards the middle of the field. He's then going to look for Kamaya, who was then looking forward to Kroger, but they were not able to connect. And once again, it'll be back in the defensive end for Case Western Reserve, as NYU will look to apply a little bit of pressure here with 4:25 to go in the conference opener. So here's NYU. They're looking, it's a shot on goal, but it is over the net. So a good job just to even get some sort of scoring opportunity near the goal there. That was Devin Reinhardt, but his shot went over the net. And now Case Western Reserve has it with 3:51 to go. Here come the Spartans. Pineda on the near side. Does have some open space. He calls for the ball. He's found. He's able to retrieve it before the ball goes out of bounds. Passes it smartly back now to Washington, who will kind of set things up again as the point guard of this Spartan attack. He gets it back to Thayer, who gets it over to Kelly. And it's going to be interrupted and intercepted by NYU. So here come the Violets, though a stone wall there by Philip Washington to prevent any sort of forward momentum there from Josh Cohen. And now the ball is wide as Reinhardt is not able to connect. And it's going to be another throw-in for Case Western Reserve with 3 minutes and 4 seconds remaining in the second half. Can the Spartans make something happen here, or can NYU, after being outplayed here for most second half, score a goal and stun the host Spartans? Again, last year, Case Western Reserve with a 3-0 win on the road. So you have to figure NYU would be happy to get out of here with a draw. Now, considering the early goal and the early 1-0 lead, perhaps the draw would be a bit of a disappointment, but certainly would be a solid start to their conference slate to start with a draw here in Cleveland. So it looks like there is a foul, or not a foul, but instead just a corner kick that's going to be coming here for NYU. And he'll be kicking from near the shadows in the corner. It's going to be Reinhardt doing the kicking from the corner. He boots it in front of the net. It's bounced around, and it's cleared by Philip Washington. It's then played in the backfield by Riccio, but that one was wildly hit and goes out of bounds. And so now with 2 minutes and 4 seconds remaining, it's going to be a throw-in deep in their own defensive end for Case Western Reserve. We still have a player down in the Case Western Reserve box, as those corner kicks can be real scrums, especially late in these games when players are really looking to throw their bodies in there to try to get the game-winning goal on the net. So Brandon Kim's going to come into the game. Not a good sight here for Case Western Reserve, as Pineda is the one that's limping off the field. And Pineda now will have to limp over to the bench as he's able to put some weight on that leg, but will definitely not be returning to this game in the next 1 minute and 49 seconds. So now we have a throw-in for Case Western Reserve. The clock is still winding, so we have 1:40 to go. And precious time being lost here as there's some confusion on that throw-in location. So Case Western Reserve now will punch it forward. Kyson Kroger does well with his size and his height to get that ball up. So here comes the Spartans. It's Brandon Kim. Brandon Kim looking in the box. He's going to try to center it, and it's going to be out of bounds. No, they say it's in. It looked like that ball was out of bounds, but they do not call it. And so there's no corner kick, and there's now only 1:08 to go. And the Spartans will have to try and make something else happen. It's McCloskey. He's out of the net. Kroger shoots. I have talked about this all afternoon. McCloskey has been playing with fire by being so far out of the net. Once again, he was so far out of the net, he could not use his hands. So he had to kick it, which went right into Kyson Kroger's lap. But Kroger was not able to get a good footing on it and put it in front of the net. And so it does go out of bounds. And it's going to be an innocent goal kick opportunity, as you see now with NYU advancing the ball. But what an almost absolutely crucial error there from the goalkeeper, who has to be happy that Kroger could not punctualize the moment. So now Kroger has it. There's only 11 seconds to play. And NYU has possession. They're looking to score. And there is going to be a penalty. There's some confusion on the pitch as the PA announcer was counting down the time. We believe we heard a whistle, but the referee does not seem to be signaling that there was a whistle. And so after all of that, this game will end in a very confusing sequence where there was no penalty. And head coach Kim Wyant is trying to get an answer as to what just happened there. But the PA announcer's call of ticking the time down was correct. And by the time play resumed with 2 seconds left, a final second kick went wide. And we have another 1-1 draw here in a UAA conference opener between NYU, and Case Western Reserve. A little bit stunned at just kind of what happened there, as McCloskey on one end almost came too far out of the net and allowed a goal to Kyson Kroger. And then on the other end, a foul is not called, and time runs out as essentially the ball is just sitting there on the pitch before a last-second attempt on net. So after all of that, it will be a draw, and Case Western Reserve will move to 5-2-3 on the season, and NYU will move to 5-1-3 on the season. And so a wild game, especially a wild second half, in which Case Western Reserve dominated possession and scoring opportunities, is going to end in a draw just like Game 1, and both teams are going to move forward hoping to continue a winning way as they move into conference play. So what a day it's been here at DiSanto Field, as we've seen two tremendous games, both of them ending in 1-1 draws. And we hope you enjoyed the action as much as we did. And as the Case Western Reserve soccer team comes across the field to applaud the great Case Western Reserve fans here today, I also now will bid you adieu here from DiSanto Field. Again, I've been Brendan Dames, and it's been my pleasure to call two tremendous games here at DiSanto Field. And just a reminder, if you've not downloaded the new CWRU Spartans app, which features real-time news alerts, schedules, exclusive multimedia content, game day details, and more, the app is free and compatible with both iOS and Android devices, and you can find them in your phone's app stores to download them today. You will not want to miss some of the amazing action happening here this fall at Case Western Reserve. Both the men's and women's soccer teams providing great action here, as well as our soon-to-be 4-0 football team. And don't forget that 16-2 volleyball team that is also nationally ranked. Come on out and support those clubs as they look to compete and win in the UAA. So again, the final score here today, Case Western Reserve 1, NYU 1. Thank you so much for joining us, and it's been my pleasure.